Hey, what's going on, guys? Jack here with more coverage for Rise of Shadows. This is going to be some more. So last time we left off on Varessa Windrunner. Since then, we've had a lot of cards revealed. We're going to be going over these quickly. Unfortunately, I can't pump these out on a daily basis since I have a lot of exams to study for. But by the time the expansion comes out, by the next video, I think we'll do a full set reveal because that's everything will be dropped by then. And let's get this going. So, 2 mana, 2/1 Rush, Death Rattle, summon a 1/1 Murloc. I think for the most part this will be pack filler, but it is better value than. It's equivocally like a 3 mana 3/2, but the first 3 stats are quick. Unfortunately, the body it leaves behind is a 1/1. If there's enough synergy or reason to run this, like in an aggro meta, this is good because it provides you a level of tempo that's faster than like a 3/2. Geppetto Joybuzz, Battlecry, draw 2 minions from the deck, set their attack and health to cost 1. Yeah, this is a combo enabler. I really hope this doesn't see play. It might see play though. There is a lot of combo disruption and combo and greedy value stuff in this newest reveal of cards. So not too sure if aggro will persist, but if the meta is slower, you can surely expect this to create combo decks. Dragon Speaker, 5 mana, 3/3 Battlecry, give all dragons your hand, +3/+3. Enough said, if there's enough dragons that are small in Paladin, this will see play. I don't think if it's a control Dragon Paladin it'll see play, because the problem with that is that you don't really need to give those +3/+3. You just need quicker things to drop to get the value from this. And this being at 5 mana makes it a bit difficult. Speaking of which, Dragon, 3 mana, 3/2, add 2 4/4 dragons to your hand. I'm assuming these dragons will cost 4. These will be 4 mana 7/7s if you combo with Dragon Speaker, so it's not actually that bad. Plus, if this dies on turn 3, it actually gets you a 4-drop on the next turn, or you can trade it in and get a 4-drop, 4/4. Not insane like tempo, but pretty good value. So again, if there's enough Dragon Synergy in Paladin, this will be good, but not much of Paladin's dragons have been revealed yet. Mass Resurrection, summon 3 friendly minions that died this game. Enough said, Geppetto Joybuzz, Mass Resurrection. You can surely expect people to try to create some Priest OTKs. Again, hoping that's not going to happen. If that happens, I'll be very sad, but yeah, that's what this is looking to do. Sludge Slurper, add a lackey to your hand, overload 1. Yeah, so this plays on the 1 mana 1/1, add a card to your hand, except sometimes, so in a 1 mana 1/1 add a copy of a card to your hand, it was very random. Like, it could have been a really shitty card, but it could also be a high impact card, which is why those were good. Lackeys are good cards, but they're low impact in terms of them being early game, and so you get overloaded. If you get a Shaman deck that is aggressive or needs early drops to contest things, I think Sludge Slurper is actually pretty good, and it actually synergizes with Hagatha pretty well, because it's 2 minions in 1, and the Lackey's a pretty good minion. It adds more spells to your hand because of Hagatha's hero power. Crystal Stag, Rush, Battlecry, if you restored 5 health this game, summon a copy of this. This is pretty much a 5 mana 8/8 Rush if you restore 5 health for turn 5. And this is 5 health to anything, not just your hero. If Druid gets enough healing cards and there's enough reason to do this, this seems reasonable for a mid-range deck. If there's enough reason for Druid to run a late-game combo, say with this, healing and combination of removal cards like Crystal Stag, then it could be seen play in a combo deck. I don't think Control makes a lot of sense in Druid, but I think a combo, more like very greedy deck or a mid-range deck will make sense, depending on what cards get printed. Speaking of which, this is one of them, Crystal Power, choose 1, deal 2, or restore 5. This cannot hit face, fortunately. It would be very broken if it could, or it can restore 5 health. Very versatile card, not too powerful in each one itself. Like, restore 5 and deal 2 is pretty good, but not insane, right? Because it's not like gain 5 armor, which could arguably be better. Of course, restoring 5 health can target minions, so this is like a Binding Light, but it can also deal damage to minions. So Crystal Power, again, synergizes well. Druid is a class that loves cheap spells as well, so even if a heal Druid doesn't work, you have to consider that a 1 mana spell in Druid is very powerful because of the Gadgetzan Auctioneer. Fell Lord Beltrug. Whenever you draw a minion, summon a copy with Rush that dies at the end of the turn. So this card, obviously, you can't talk about it without looking at some of the other Warlock cards that come out, which is one that shuffles a bunch of cards, and in combination with that, it does seem pretty strong. Sorry, guys. So yeah, you need stuff that draws cards to make this valuable. And it dies at the end of the turn, so I'm wondering if Death Rattle would work with it. I don't know strong enough Death Rattles right now that makes sense for this to be played with a Death Rattle thing, but this with the new 2 mana card might actually be pretty cool. But is that combo actually worth it to clear a board? Maybe it refills your hand and you can potentially clear a board, but that's a 10 mana combo, so we shall see. Hecklebot, Taunt, Battlecry, your opponent summons a minion from their deck. So obviously this is better than what is that card called? It's 3 mana, 2/8, Death Lord, which was a death rattle. Better in the sense that if you have a shield slam in hand and your warrior, you can kill their combo piece immediately. Worse in the sense that it's 1 mana more, and if you don't have something, if you pull out a strong minion and you're against like a mid-range or a late or control deck and you don't have removal, you pretty much can't play this card. Otherwise, you're fucked. 4 mana, 3/8, great stat line. Really will only see play, I think, as a tech in control decks against combo, or as combo decks versus other combo if you have strong removal, like Shield Slam, so I expect Warrior to tech this if combo is a thing. Unfortunately for Warrior, Shield Slam will be harder to activate because no Baku Hero Power anymore, but it is still a probability. This cannot be discounted because this really needs to... this really is one of those cards that needed to be printed to put limitations, as you can see, on all these other like combo potential cards. Alright, 8 mana, 4/8, Lifesteal, Rush, Wind Fury. This card is really good. Deals 8 damage, restores 8 health, is a threat. Only problem is it comes down at turn 8, but for a late game drop, it has instant impact on the board, soft taunt, and it heals you. So even without hard taunt, it's a lot, and if they remove it, you get healed. I think this card is really good if Shaman has a control deck, and it's possible that they have a value deck with Hagatha if there's enough minion generating cards, such as Sledge Slurper, and I could see that happening. Muckmorpher, Battlecry, transform into a 4/4 copy of a different minion in your deck. Yeah, needs good minions in your deck, or needs to be played in combo. Suffice to say, I think this is a bit too slow. I don't think Shaman has the cards to make this work, but we'll see once the full set is revealed. Like I said, this is mostly reactions. We'll do an actual reveal of everything once the full set is out, so we can see all the cards at once. Meta Risa, your Battlecries trigger twice. 3 mana, 4/3. That's a good enough stat line to see play if there's an aggressive secret paladin deck. Ray of Frost, twin spell, freeze a minion if it's already frozen, deal 2 damage. Great card, I think in a control mage deck this might see play. I think even in tempo mage deck this might see a bit of play. You generate an extra small spell. Unfortunately, no Flame Wakers and no what is it called? No Mana Worms. So maybe not. Actually, I'm pretty sure this was made because Mana Worm got nerfed. Maybe it's not good enough in a tempo deck, but it gives you an extra spell and potentially freezes 2 things. I think this card's great, though, because it's super versatile. You can freeze 2 things. You can freeze 1 thing twice over the next 2 turns. You can deal 2 damage right away for 2 mana. I think it's a great spell. Mana Cyclone. For each spell you've cast this game, add a random mage spell to your hand. Oh, cast this turn. Okay. Works really well with Ray of Frost. This is a great control card. This draws you cards when you play stuff, but it has to be in a cheap spell mage, so definitely nothing like a big spell. Will a control deck run cheap spells? Well, Ray of Frost is promising. If we see more cheap spells, such as Magic Trick, then sure. Duel. Summon a minion from each player's decks they fight. Okay, so this is obviously to counter combo. Great. Unfortunately, if you summon a minion from your deck and it fights and it doesn't kill their minion, it doesn't really do much, does it? Because then you were left with a good minion on the opponent's side. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, Paladin needs a good control class for this to work. Unseen Saboteur. Battlecry. Your opponent casts a random spell from their hand. Yeah, so this breaks combo. This breaks the... this really hurts the Mechathune combo for Warrior, actually, because they can force you to cap Boom's ship. This is a great disruption card, though, and I think this will be teched in if decks run spells that can be disruptive if played at the wrong time. So, glad they printed this card. Necessary. 2 mana, 2/2. Transform into a 2/2 copy of a friendly Death Rattle minion. Priest needs good Death Rattle minions for this to see play. Nazari. Restore both heroes to full health. What does Paladin want full health with? With the other Paladin legendary that transforms your health into armor, this is pretty decent, but just having up 29 armor on people doesn't instantly win you the game sometimes, especially if the game is slow enough that you get to 10 mana and restore your health. So, yeah, it really depends on what other cards are revealed. Mark Shot. Deal 4 damage to a minion, discover a spell. Great value card, bad tempo card. If a value spell hunter exists, sure. If not, then it's poop. Katrina Morete. At the end of the turn, summon a friendly minion that died this game. I think this card is interesting. It kind of reminds me of Kel'Thuzad. It summons stuff at the end of your turn, though, which is really cool. Yeah, it really depends on if Priest is playing big cards. Potentially speaking, you could combo this with Resurrect, not the old Resurrect, but the new like Mass Revival, Mass Resurrection, and summon a bunch of these because Mass Resurrection doesn't need your minions to be unique. So this could be a huge threat in that sense, and you can flood the board as a combo. Alternatively, you could have a combo piece and use this as a revival tool, but Priest needs other ways to bridge to combo. You're no longer be able to cheese them at like turn 4 with like a big Priest thing. You need more ways to bridge the combo now, because you don't have the 2 mana Resurrect. You don't have the 4 mana Resurrect anymore. You don't even have the 6 mana Shadow Essence. So yeah. Batterhead, 312. After this card's bad. You don't want to open this as an epic card. This card sucks. Because even if at 8 mana you clear your entire board, wow, you would have to kill a 3 health minion to attack again. I think this card's really bad. This card could have been like a 4/15 Wind Fury, and I don't know, maybe it would have been decent, but if you're clearing a board, the 12 health, like, that's irrelevant. You're using this as a board clear, and it's a very conditional board clear. It's going to die, right? So this is like a bad Twisting Nether. Eager Underling, Death Rattle, give 2 random friendly minions +2/+2. This is a really slow version of Fungalmancer. Granted, it comes earlier, but it's super slow. I don't think it'll see play unless there's good target. Like, even with the cards that destroy this, and then you can potentially give your other things +2/+2, by destroying it, you're losing the actual 2/2 stats, and this is 4 mana fast +2/+2 of stats. So if you destroy the minion, you get the benefit from the destroy effect and then this Death Rattle. But then it comes down to 4 mana, so it needs to be 5 or more. That seems very hard to pull off for me. It might be too inconsistent. Magic Trick synergizes great with Mana Cyclone because you're casting cheap spells to get more and more spells. Discover a spell that costs 3 or less. The spell that means will probably be low impact, but since you get to choose which one, you'll probably find a good opportunity. Crystal Song Portal. Discover a Druid minion. If your hand has no minions, keep all 3. Great for a value Druid deck, if that does exist. Vendetta. Deal 4 damage to a minion. Cost 0 if you're holding a card from another class. Oh, this is a Rogue card. Yeah, this is Druid, this is Rogue. Okay. Yeah, this looks like a pretty good card. For a Burgle Rogue. If you burgle something from a different class, so the new 3 mana card that makes you discover something, and you get this. Oh wait, no, it's a 4 mana 4/3, and then on turn 5 this would cost 0. 0 mana deal 4. That's pretty good because even though it's a 0 mana deal 4, which isn't always high impact, you're refilling your hand by drawing things from other decks, and then you're using this as a quick tempo way to remove something. I could see this card seeing play. Plot Twist. Shuffle your hand to your deck, draw many cards. We get Reload from Yu-Gi-Oh! This card lurks well with Fellord Betrog. It could also work well in a control deck, because if you think about it like this, right? Warlock, say you are a control deck, you tap for the first 2 turns, you don't get anything good, you're against a mid-range or an aggro deck, you cast this card, turn 5, then you have options, for 3 mana play. Potentially will be good. I think potentially used for a combo, and yeah, I like the card. This is 2 mana, potentially not necessarily draw a lot of cards, but being able to mulligan, I don't think we haven't seen mulligan in Hearthstone yet, so other than like obviously at the beginning of the game. It's hard to evaluate purely if like this card didn't exist. I don't know how strong it would be, but because Felrog exists, it boosts the power level of Plot Twist. Alright, Big Bad Archmage. At the end of your turn, summon a random 6-cost minion, so this comes down to turn 10. It's really slow for a turn 10 card, but it's constant threat. It's kind of like Ysera, but instead of getting cards to your hand, it gets that on board. I think since Ysera's not... If Ysera doesn't see play, I don't think this card sees play, unless like it's for a Resurrect deck that like needs minions on board. But even then, in a deck that resurrects things, I could play in Warrior. We'll see what the other Warrior cards, because Warrior has some new cards that like summons things from your deck. So maybe Warrior needs something like this, but I kind of doubt it. Desperate Measures. Twin Spell. Cast a random Paladin Secret. This is a lot of value. You get 2 Paladin Secrets in 1. They're random, but it's hard to play around random secrets. So even though it's not necessarily good, Paladin Secrets are generically decent. Some of them are bad, but your opponent has to pretty much like... there's no way of playing around it because it's a random Paladin Secret. And that means they just have to play against whatever the worst case scenario is, or if they want to be greedy, best case scenario. Tack Noswhisker. Whenever you shuffle a card in your deck, add a copy to your hand. This is very dangerous with the new Academic Espionage. You could take this, prep Academic Espionage, and draw a bunch of 1-cost spells and cards from another class. That's really dangerous. I don't like this card because that makes Rogue really dangerous. This could just completely make the Burgle Rogue archetype very deadly. I feel bad for all of you who disenchanted Academic Espionage, because that might actually make that deck super viable. But again, this is another card that's very slow. Combo has to be pulled off very late in the game. But we're coming out of a meta that is very combo heavy, so it really depends if aggro decks rise up in this next expansion, which we'll see in the full card reveal. Archmage Vargoth. So this card is the one that everyone's getting for their April Fools. Not April Fools, but for like the everyone gets this. Kind of like Marn the Fox, everyone will get this. At the end of your turn, cast a spell you've cast this turn. Only spell works in a deck with good spells. Maybe it works in a value deck that has good spells. So yeah. Dreamway Guardian. Also, this needs to stick if you're playing something that's more than 6 mana. So Yeah, I don't expect too much from this, but maybe. Dreamer Guardian. Summon 2/1/2 Dryads with Lifesteal. This is to help with the new Heal Druid. Definitely a good card actually, because even in a token deck, this wouldn't be bad, right? Because this is like playing both Fireflies, and instead they have Lifesteal. Yeah, you can't play them at turn 1, but on turn 2 now they have Lifesteal. It's a very versatile card. I think this will see play regardless if there's in either a token or a Heal Druid deck. Lifeweaver. Whenever you restore health, add a random Druid spell to your hand. Wow, this combo is crazy. Okay, so not only is this isn't even restore health to your hero. This is restore health, like, in general, right? So you can heal a minion. If your hero takes damage, you play this on turn 2. You combo into Lifeweaver, you're drawing Druid spells. That's a pretty good combo, and I could see that seeing play. Call to Adventure. Draw the lowest cost minion from your deck, give it +2/+2. This doesn't seem that good to me because 1.5 mana for the +2/+2, 1.5 mana draw a card. That makes the card very fair. Hand buffing a minion is very slow. There needs to be a fast paladin minion that's low cost that giving +2/+2 is worth it. I don't see one in this set that's really worth it. Like, neither of these cards are that worth it, and I don't see a paladin thing that you need to tutor. If that one Immortal Prelate paladin card becomes good, then I see people teching Silence against it, because that's only a +2/+2 buff. Yeah, it gets shuffled back into your deck, but are you going to play both of these to draw that out? Like, that doesn't seem viable to me. Underbelly Fence. If you're holding a card from another class, gain +1/+1 in Rush. This card's insane. Rogue, though, will need a 1-mana card that activates this. I don't remember if they have one because they don't have the Pirate anymore that does that. But if you remember the Warrior card, Alex Stras's Champion, that was a 2-mana 3/3 charge. This would be a 2-mana 3/4 rush. Even on turn 3, that would be good. So if Rogue gets a 2-mana or a 1-mana way of getting cards into their hand, this would be a really good card and very scary to play against. Lucent Bark. Legendary. Taunt, Death Rattle. Go dormant, restore 5 health to awaken this minion. Yes, 8 mana 4/8 Taunt is a bad stat line, but you can revive this a bunch of times. You can combo. This could be the new Taunt Druid, pretty much, is what I meant when I was talking about the Lifesteal Druid. In a control deck, in a control version, it would pretty much be more greedy combo, where you're just getting a bunch of these out and boxing your opponent out of the game. It needs enough resources to do that. Meta needs to be slow enough to do that, but if so, very dangerous. You would have to tech Silence against it, and if you don't silence it instantly, they might Gloop Sprayer it, summon multiple copies, then you're going to be looking at a wall of Lucent Barks. Not going to be a very fun time if you can't break that combo. Aranasi Bloodmother. Taunt. When you draw this, restore 4 health to your hero. I actually don't think this card's very good because you don't get to control when you draw it. In isolation, I don't think it's very good because the 6-mana 4/6 Taunt is not good, and when you're drawing it, that's a really weird condition to fulfill. But because of Plot Twist, like I said before, if you're against an aggressive deck and you have shitty cards, you could potentially be reshuffling 6 or 7 cards. You draw this, you're restoring 4 health. If you have 2 of these, say you restore 8 health, like early turns after an aggro deck punches you a bunch of times, that can really help you stabilize and prevent them from getting lethal. So I think in that context, this might see play, just because of the fact that Warlock is a class that has its hero power, the draw hero power, and the Plot Twist. Other than that, though, in isolation, this card isn't that great. 9 lives. Discover a friendly Death Rattle minion that died this game. Also triggered its Death Rattle. Oh, man. I really hate Death Rattle Hunter, but I think Hunter is losing a lot of good Death Rattle minions and activators, so I don't think this will be oppressive. But that being said, not everything in Hunter has been revealed yet, as we can see a new Death Rattle card, add a random Hunter spell to your hand. So this draws you a Death Rattle minion and activates a Death Rattle. That's actually pretty good. Yeah, if Hunter has good Death Rattles, or neutral Death Rattles, then this will be played. Shimmerfly, add a random Hunter spell to your hand. This is like... I think Hunter spells have gotten better because of 9 lives, because of stuff. It's a very value Hunter deck, and it's not pushing Hunter to be aggressive, once again. It's pushing Hunter toward that like mid-range Death Rattle value, which is really annoying to play against his Warrior, but you lose Cube, right? So I think it'll be less oppressive than it was before, but we shall see once everything is revealed. Dimensional Ripper, 10 mana, summon 2 copies of a minion in your deck. A Warrior would need good cards that are non-Battle Cry to make this worthwhile. And I think, for example, Big Mad Archmage could be the card that like does that, because if you summon 2 copies of like Big Bagged Archmage, you're getting a shit ton of minions, but that's turn 10 is the problem. That's not doing anything. If you're running mechs, great, but you need a huge mech to make this worth it, because you need Dr. Boom to be played, you need this to be played, and then you need to summon the Dr. Boom stuff out to shoot with Rush at the enemy. So this either fits in a Control Warrior deck, a combo deck, or it probably won't see play. I just don't see Big Warrior being viable. Archivist Elysiana. Battlecry. Discover 5 cards, replace your deck with 2 copies of each. I think this card is insane. This heals your deck. This fixes... Okay, so I was worried about Bomb Warrior losing to Warlock and being shoved out of the meta because of rafaam being just winning in the control matchup, just like the old days of Warrior versus Warlock. But Warrior had win conditions of Warlock back then, because Warlock would play Draxus, you would have potential to Grom combo them. Nowadays, that's not the case with how Archmage rafaam works. Well, Archivist Elysiana gives every controller combo deck a way to cleanse Warrior bombs. So in that sense, I fucking hate this card, because it screws over Warrior. But in another sense, it's really good that they printed it, because if Bomb Warrior was oppressive, this card is very important that it's printed in the same set to be pretty much a cleansing effect from the Warrior poisoning your own deck. This also helps against Hakar, but ideally Hakar kills on the first turn. Unfortunately, Druid Naturalize is going to go into Wild now, so that's not going to be a standard combo anymore. But again, probably healthy for the game. I think it's very healthy that they printed this card. It's good for cleansing your deck, and I can see this being very important in fatigue matchups. Other than that, in a fast meta, this will not see play, obviously, because this is meant to be in control. I think more interestingly is that this could potentially see play in the new Specialist game mode, because Specialist having a sideboard, this is super good against. Like, you screw any deck that's win condition is Bomb, like Warrior, or is like Hakar, is poisoning your deck. Yeah, I think this card's insane, actually. Henge Clan Hag, Battlecry, summon 2 1/1 amalgams with all minion types. This is the strongest 4-drop in the game now, because it's a 4-mana 5/5 technically. Will it see play? If decks need a strong 4-mana card, it will see play. Exotic Mount Seller. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a random 3-cost beast. Whenever you have these effects, where you cast a spell, you want them to be a low-cost minion. Maybe because this has such decent stats, but on turn 7, you play this, it doesn't do anything, it has to survive. On turn 7, if you're a control deck, you will get boned. If you are losing and you play this, but if you're not behind and you play this, they have to remove it, and then that brings your tempo back, so they have to waste time removing it, or if they don't remove it, then you get value, yada yada yada. Same thing as other cards from before. It's a type of win more card that you stick on the board that's late game. Traditionally, these haven't seen a lot of play, but recently in the last expansion, you know, I've learned my lesson about overestimating late game cards, or rather underestimating them, given how slow the meta became. So I will say potential, but we need to see the whole set to rationalize if it'll see play or not. Barista Lychen, Battlecry. Add a copy of your other Battlecry minions to your hand. So you need to have Battlecry minions in play. I could see this card being pretty good. You could potentially add a bunch of Battlecry minions. You need good Battlecry minions, but this comboed with something like Archvish, God, like there's so much value. You know what I mean? Like that I'm seeing, like Nozari with that. Yeah, there's just Blizzard. This I was very excited when this first reveal came out. Right, a lot of the cards were cool. The power level looked lower, but a lot of these cards' power levels, maybe they're not super tempo-y, but they look really late game strong. And if there's enough payoff late game for something, and if there's enough defensive tools, or rather a lack of strong aggressive tools, this shit will go unpunished, and we'll have another control meta, which could be very polarizing, because control matchups can be very polarizing sometimes. So I'm worried about that, but you know, it's a cool card. And finally, for today, the Boom Reaver, 10 mana 7/9. Summon a copy of a minion in your deck, give it Rush. This itself will have Rush if you play Dr. Boom. Again, only works if you have good big minions. It summons a copy, which is good because then it doesn't fatigue you and it doesn't fuck over your Battlecry. But you pretty much need big minions that have good stats that you can give Rush to. Man, I don't see that happening in Warrior right now. Because I think every other combo is probably better in giving more value, but maybe if you tempo out fast enough, but still other decks have board clears. I just don't see it happening. Again, this is just so that's all the cards revealed so far as of April 2nd, 2019. This is just a quick reaction. This is not a full analysis of the meta. I'm just reacting to what the cards have been revealed so far. Everything is looking very exciting. We still have quite a few cards to go. It's 80 out of 135 cards revealed. Once all the cards come out, we will do a full set review. And yeah, that'll probably be the next video, actually, is the full set review, considering that I think the card dump might actually be tomorrow, sometime this week, and I have exams, and then after that, before the expansion comes out, I'll do the set review, and then I'll start making videos for the expansion. Other than that, this is going to be Jack, signing out. Peace, guys.